Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chupon Championship Finals. Uh, so, I guess I'm Golden Shocker. I'm here to host here with Saris Rose. Saris, if you'd like to do an introduction.
Yeah, howdy. Nice to be with someone who actually pronounces my name right. I tell everyone they can pronounce it however they want, and I don't really care, but you do get bonus points for getting it right.
I try my best.
Yeah. And I'm as someone who didn't make it to the finals of the Chupon Championship, I'm very excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, this really is going to be a pretty exciting race. Gar and Possum have had a really good run as champions, but Papa Shango and Fitz, I think, were the champions before that. So a lot of back and forth, and really just two really great teams. So really looking forward to this. There should be a really exciting race.
Yeah, do you know offhand how long Gar and Possum have been on top?
I think it's been 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm pretty sure that Papa Shango and Fitz were they won the month before, and they had their title stolen by Gar and Possum. So this is a little bit of a revenge match as well.
Yeah, I would say I need a better teammate to get up there on the top, but my teammate this round was Honey, so can't can't ask for much better. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
this is what
uh,
happens when everyone's high caliber and not just one of the two runners.
yeah, absolutely. No, I mean it's extremely competitive and just a lot of talent overall in the whole community. And these Chupon Championship races have just been exceptional. So I don't expect anything different tonight. Looks like we're underway here.
Not a
So
super exciting starting lineup of characters or skills. We do get some decent checks with Cyan and Terra though, but I think Cyan and Trigger are probably the two most complained about characters.
yeah, I mean Gar, I'm sure was excited when he saw Strago, but with that being said, I think everybody else, eh, I think the slot is a good starting ability. Especially to get off right at the beginning of the seed. But then also Tarad with all the checks here at Seal Gate is a really good opener as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, Thunder Shield, Atlas Armlet. So there's a couple pretty decent things here in the treasure room down there.
We see Fitz doing something completely different, starting off just going to Albrook first.
Yeah, not a bad idea, honestly, to just peek a few of the shops and just get an idea of what's out there. A lot of people will actually do that early just to get some intelligence on what's out there in the shops. Maybe looking for something like earrings, which now he's pretty much good to go. So that's a really good strategy just to get some additional information on what might be out there in the shops.
Yeah, could be making a play to get ready for the repeatable grind fight in Sealed Cave, especially if I can get some scaling up early. I might delay Sealed Cave a little bit because that grind fight can be really convenient if it ends up working out well. But not really any free checks you can make with these characters besides the one that we're currently in.
Yeah, if this would be a lot of value if potentially there's maybe revivifies in there and you get an undead enemy in the switch. So you might want to buy a few, and that would actually set you up pretty well. So that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, slots being a little bit underappreciated, I think, but especially getting two earrings in the beginning. It doesn't take that much practice with slots to be able to consistently get 7 flushes, which will take care of most grind fights early.
Yep. Yeah, and honestly, with the Thunder Shield as well, there's a pretty good opportunity to get at least magic offense on a couple characters. So it's a good way to get going with slot and then eventually with bolt too. So it's a good little start, so far here for all the runners.
Just got a Minerva from that. Not, not the most exciting. Probably hoping for something to get scaling up. But Minerva's nice to have, especially knowing you have someone who can wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good safety armor too, because with Minerva, it's pretty unlikely to get you know have any trouble with any of the early bosses, unless you happen to find somebody that has a ability that evades magic defense or is non-elemental. So
Mhm.
there's very few that actually do that. So it's a really good armor to have early on. Bismarck at Zen Thief is
Mhm.
a very good find. So getting a little bit of scaling and also an Esper. You're honestly looking for an Esper that has a pretty decent bonus, especially when you check Zen Thief like that, just to see if you can get some kind of bonuses on your characters when you do your early grind fighting.
Absolutely. It doesn't look like Fitz ended up doing the grind fight, so we'll never know what that fight was.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Still nothing wrong with ending up with those early earrings.
Yeah, all the
Albrook check is pretty common, so hopefully everybody gets those.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just in general, you're looking for a few earrings, especially with a slot start, just to make
Mhm.
sure that you make the most of the magic abilities.
And I think when I poo-pooed the starting skills earlier, I misread slot as something else. So I'm actually usually pretty happy when I have slot to start. Not really gonna last forever, but usually the hardest part of any run is the very beginning anyway.
Yeah, if you can get through the first, say 15, 20 minutes of the seed, enough time to maybe get you a dragon, a couple of, early bosses out of the way, it's usually a really good ability to have.
Yeah. Still in our early looting, haven't seen anything that's really gonna, drive this seed home. I don't think we've seen. Did we end up seeing what that Bismarck had?
I don't think we did yet. So, question in the chat here was the Chupon Championship and how can I play in it? So, uh, every month we have basically a big async race that we have with several runners. Basically, everybody kind of pairs up in teams of two. Uh, the announcement should be coming out here, and our restreamer and our tracker tonight, Sigil and Dwyer, are the ones that are actually running the event. So obviously, if you have any questions, you can reach out to them. But you should be able to just join whenever there's an open, basically recruitment. You can go in and just say that you're looking for a partner and pair up with somebody and start racing, which is it's a fun little event that's run on a monthly basis in the World's Collide community.
Yeah. If you want to join but you think you don't have a teammate, you do. You just don't know it yet. I mean, I got one super last minute. There's always people who are willing.
Yeah, I don't think I've joined one yet with a partner in mind,
Mhm.
but I've always found somebody.
Well, maybe I'll steal you next time. I'm assuming I didn't make a good impression on Honey, but I haven't ruined my chances with you. Pretty pretty easy grind fight here that Guard picked up outside Doma. Probably not wanting to risk trying to do the actual grind fighting inside there. That's a little
Yeah,
unfortunate.
little unfortunate, but also just revivifies make that a very easy grind fight. Otherwise, that would have been a little bit more challenging. So, kind of worked out in his favor just to have a few items that are already kind of queued up, ready to go. And at least he has Terra out of level 3 jail, which is a good start.
Yeah. And that Bismarck not having much, just Ice 2 and Haste. Ice 2 can get you decently in the beginning, but nothing to write home about. Very happy that we have slot on Terra who can use the Minerva, because that'll get some good stats too.
Yeah, it's actually a good idea with slot Terra to probably put Ice 2 on one of the other characters, most likely Strago, just because
Mhm.
that'll give Terra an offensive option and Strago. So I suspect that that's what most of the runners will end up doing is try to get Ice 2 on probably Strago in this situation.
Straga not having a good time this seed. We've got him imped on one screen, died multiple times on another screen.
think it's just send a message to Strago to show where he stands in everybody's hearts.
And I see in chat, Dwyer saying Series and Golden, I predict a new champion team. I think you said that when I teamed up with Honey, but maybe this time will be different.
Hey, you never know. There's always a chance. Gar and Possum both taking the grind fight in Doma Defense, which is a really good strategy. I especially appreciate the way that Gar did it, where he took a few fights outside first, just because that gives you a little bit more protection in case that grind fight isn't advantageous in some way. But
Yeah.
both of them are getting a lot of good levels here.
There are also some grind fights that are, perfect fight for slots.
Yeah, the danger here is really the slots is basically all you have.
Yeah, luckily our scaling's not too high, and that Terra's putting some numbers down. But also, to your point about Guardian, there's grind fights outside. There are some grind fights that you can get that are great, but not great when you're level 3. So getting a little bit of that safety net can be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Tumbleweed that Papa Shango's facing right now is another really good grind fight, so I think everybody's finding a little bit of something that they'd be looking for. Gar getting through Tri-Top very quickly there, so that was a really good fight. And one free fit's going to Mount Zozo, World of Ruin, which is another really good starter with this party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would say that there's a lot of runners that would go up here and just do a what I would call walking grind. Just take the middle of time off and kind of fight as you go. So this is another really good area where you could start off.
Yeah. I guess did we just learn that Tritalk is a floating enemy? Because that Chocobop, I guess you can't use birds against birds.
Apparently not. I mean, we'll have to write all the folks for the next Turkey Day event. It's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, I love the Mount Zozo play. I think it's, there's some really easy chests to get that'll always surprise you with what they have. If you can handle the dragon early, that's a great little boost. And every time I've skipped Mount Zozo, it screwed me over. So I think this is a great check to do.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, this is the save spot being there, so even if the dragon is a rough fight, I mean, you have the option to kind of nip out of it and just keep going.
Yeah. A lot of very different looking fights going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 Pearl Rods makes this a really convenient fight.
I'm surprised this Ghost Train isn't still down yet. I feel like sometimes it's a beefier fight than I give it credit for.
Yeah, it's probably because he didn't suplex it.
Probably. I mean, we saw that slot doing like 2,000 damage to Tritalk and 500 to Ghost Train.
Yeah. Yeah, Ghost Train does have a little bit more defense, but all the same, it's still a relatively easy fight as long as Evil Toot doesn't get to you.
And I think I missed it. What did the dragon end up having?
I didn't catch that, honestly.
Well, if it was an Illumina or something, it won't be long before we see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Welk Spot led to Saban. I didn't see what Saban had. Force Shield, not too exciting. But this is probably a trick that everybody's going to end up doing eventually anyway.
Yeah, but getting that extra dragon experience does give Fitz a little bit of an advantage here in terms of a few easier fights coming up.
If you get motion sick easily, Possum is going for the full poison block. So avert your eyes. Got 3 other runners we can look at.
Yeah, I guess Gar was looking to see what he could get as far as encounters here in Collapsing House. So probably looking for just a little bit more experience, and he also has the thieving bear nurses.
I probably mention this every time I see it, but when I was a kid, I thought the arm on the bear was a long nose, kind of like maybe an aardvark or an anteater or something.
I could see where you'd pick that up from, but nope, just a bear with sticky fingers apparently.
And Fitz checking the Maddox Tower. Looks like just an Esper. And we're going straight into Doma. So it seems like a lot of fairly similar routes at the beginning. A little bit of divergence here with Team Right Side hanging out in the World of Ruin, doing
Yep.
science stuff. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I'd say.
everyone hates Cyan but loves his checks. Sorry, go on.
No, that's basically what I was gonna say. I mean, Cyan is a little bit of a rough character in terms of his equips, but his checks are actually very quick, and they all have a lot of value. Especially Dome of Dream, where you have 3 checks for 2 boss fights essentially. So that could work out very well if you kind of get the right items or get the right checks out of it.
Yeah. We got Gar in chat talking about forgetting Moogle Charm there. Don't worry, Gar. We all know it was calculated. You don't need to be modest.
I was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sorry, I think I interrupted you. You were going to say something about number 124, but now it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, number 24 doesn't last long, especially with all the pro rods and all the other offense that Fitz has right now. Papa
Still not.
Shango through Dirt Dragon.
Yeah, Dirt Dragon, one of my favorites to find if I'm doing a really early dragon. I feel like at that scaling, it's not doing its own tusk counters. It's just doing weird, like, demise and life shavers and stuff. Nothing particularly threatening.
Yeah, it gets scary once it can do Quake and Magnitude 8. That's when you really have to start getting nervous with Dirt Dragon.
Yeah.
Awesome running into another really good grind fight with the GT Behemoth and the Vectors. I'd say just across the board, everybody found pretty much what you would hope for in terms of early characters and early fights to kind of get you going. So it's definitely a good start for everybody.
Now, what I want to know, there's 2 things on my mind looking at everything here. One, are we going to get Magimaster at the end of Doma Dream? And 2, are any of our runners going to keep that Umaro?
I mean, sure hope so.
I mean, we don't exactly have a stellar lineup of characters.
I mean, Umaro's out there, so I don't know what you mean. That is a pretty stellar lineup, if you ask me.
I mean, in terms of options that aren't the Yeti, I would honestly replace everybody but Terra with Yeti if I could.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I mean, at this point, you might as well just reskin everybody as Yeti and just make it an overpowered party.
Definitely going to get some people a little too excited. And we've got Doom at the end of Doma Dream. Did Fitz already use all those pro rods?
I believe he did, but he did have enough MP for Bahamut, so Oh, no, he does have a couple left, so this is going to be a relatively safe fight for him. He has plenty of breakables here.
Yeah, the hardest part about Doom, especially early, tends to be, even if you have the damage to slowly but surely get through it, odds are that damage is magic, which you'll be able to reflect in the second phase. You got breakables, you don't even have to worry about that. And we don't even see the second phase. That's already the correct POW there.
Yeah, that was a really good fight. Good use of breakables there, just to avoid having to worry about the phase where he has reflect and image. Usually that's where a lot of runners get stuck, is that they'll use their breakables during the first phase and then not have anything for the second phase when he's immune or protected against everything. So using the breakables, getting through that quickly is definitely a good thing for Fitz. So very well done there.
Looks like Morpheus did not bring in Yeti, unfortunately. I guess that X Magic Sabin is just too appealing in that Morph Cyan.
I mean, each their own, but with that being said, I mean, it is good to have another character to cast utility magic. I mean, probably not as fast as Umaro, but hey, go ahead and I guess use what you have.
And I see we had on Fitz's side, we had an Esper with Merton. I actually haven't been paying too much attention to the Espers, but we've got a bunch floating around.
Yeah, a lot of just okay Espers. From what I remember this seed, there's one or two Espers that were kind of top tier. I want to say Bahamut was one of them, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say Bahamut might have had Magic Plus on it. That's testing my memory. It's been a week, but
You're making me wonder if I ran this seed or not. I thought this was like I don't know. As soon as it's been any amount of time since a run, I've already forgotten it.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty bad at that too. Ooh, that's a very unfortunate guard getting 3 of his characters frozen there, deciding to just reset.
Yeah. Chat, let's not open up the nerf freeze discourse again. But if you do want to start talking about that, you have 90 seconds. Yeah, if you're gonna get that full party or most party freeze, at least it's near a safe point.
Yeah, that's honestly, it was the best thing to just get out of that fight quickly and just start over.
We got Fitz hanging out in RNG Cave. I didn't realize that Bahamut was a +2 magic.
Yeah, that was a really good find, and I mean that basically gives you a character that's pretty much 100% solid for Final Kefka. So getting that on a character and letting them just grow with the magic buff is really pretty powerful, especially in a seed like this. Yeah, Gar pointing out in chat that freeze requires 2 rolls, so basically it has to hit. Basically, the freeze basically has to roll and hit the characters, but then there's also I want to say a 75 or 50% chance of it missing on top of that. So when you have a full party freeze, you're missing multiple rolls, and it's just really bad luck across the board.
And I saw in the Coliseum, Fitz didn't trade any Pearl Rods for Ice Shields, and we also broke a Thunder Shield. So it seems like we're not committing to, or maybe we had a second Thunder Shield. Looks like we're not committing to that Merton strat, which so far has seemed like the only real end game strategy that I've seen here. That and that realm doing Brain Train.
Yeah, Grand Train is a really awesome rage to find, so if you have it, I mean, it's something to really lean into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, I mean, with everything you've seen here, what are you looking at as your, end game options?
I would think that basically you would probably want to put Realm with Grand Train. I think that pretty much is self-sufficient no matter what you do. I would probably try to get a second character with Magic Plus. preferably either Strago or Saban in this case, because more most likely you're going to find a weapon, a sword of some sort for Terra. So I'd be probably rolling the dice here, maybe trying a few dragons to see if I could get a Ragnarok, Illumina, Atma weapon, something for Terra. So that's what I would be trying to think for here. I mean, with this party, and especially with the magic boost, you definitely have a lot of good options right now.
Yeah.
Just need to maybe find 1 or 2 more pieces.
Yeah. Fit's still only at 3 characters, but definitely finding some really good espers. You know, we had that magic +2, we have Merton, we have Quick, which Quick would be great if we were able to find a Rag or an Illumina or something for Terra. So there's definitely some power here. I'm not sure how much it's coalesced on any single runner.
Yeah, I would say that until a runner decides to full commit on Magic Plus, you won't see any one character really out damaging the others in the group. But after a few levels, maybe 10 or so, I think you'll really start seeing some big damage numbers. So I think there's going to be a really good start here coming up. Also, Fire 3 on that Esper, so Tritalk is a really good find as well.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy to see Fitz using Bahamut. I think, in general, Espers can be a bit underrated. Probably because a lot of them aren't that great, but that Bahamut will put in some good damage. Pretty much the whole run.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bahamut is essentially a mini Ultima, for lack of a better term. Obviously, you can only use it once per battle, but just having it to use, it's one of the better summons that you can pull out. There's a few other ones that are pretty handy, like Alexander, Tritalk, that are maybe a little bit more situational. But Bahamut pretty much has a universal use, once per fight if you need it.
Absolutely. And most of the time in this game, you just need it once per fight.
Yeah, usually you can kind of make up the difference with all the other abilities and weapons that you have. So just having that easy button is just really useful in a lot of situations.
Yeah. And we've had some differences in the direction everyone's gone. I have a feeling basically everything that everyone else has done, everyone else is going to eventually do.
Yeah,
Although,
Fitz is getting lucky here. He already has Fire 3 before the Tritalk fight, which is going to make this a lot easier than everybody else had.
yeah. And I can't remember, was that Bahamut from Doma Dream? I know not everyone has it right now.
I'm not 100% sure, honestly.
See, this is why I'm not a tracker.
I mean, I'm a really bad tracker. I can keep mind of, or I can remember what I have, but in terms of remembering where I got it from, I definitely struggle with it.
Yeah, I mean, who needs to know that?
As long as you know what you have, usually you're okay. Doesn't really help in commentary though. Apologies.
It seems a
Sounds
good
like
time to shout out our trackers for doing what we're incapable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very much appreciated, Dwyer, Sigil. Sigil also helping with this restream tonight. So, definitely appreciate everybody that's volunteering and helping out with the restream.
Fitz is gonna finally get another character.
Yeah, Fitz going to the wealth check here. I think Fitz and Shongo had the team spirit here, both of them going to the same place at the same time.
Yeah, it almost makes you feel like they're, this is a team tournament, but you don't communicate with your teammate during the run. It does feel like somehow they've decided that they both need to do the exact same thing.
That was a very unfortunate overflow on the Possum screen.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at Possum's screen, but I saw number 24, and I saw the reset, You know what's happened.
Yeah, just overflow with a Grand Train already queued up. That's it's not the first time, not the last time.
Yeah.
Usually it's Ultima that does that, but yep, that's exactly what happened there. So Gar
Overall,
taking
go ahead.
a, I was just gonna say Gar's taking a peek at the Fnatic's tower here. Go ahead, Cyrus.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's hard to tell. It doesn't feel like anyone's particularly ahead at the moment. Like I said before, the checks that have no one's really done anything super out there and wild. I mean, Fitz did do have a drop, which people tend to avoid, but it's really not that bad.
Yeah, I'd say as of right now, it's relatively even just across the board because so Possum has a lot of characters to go check, so he has a lot of fast checks that he can kind of get through pretty quickly. Gar's starting to put together quite a bit of power. I'd say just across the board, everybody's pretty even right now, which works out really well in a team race like this. So I think
Yeah.
it'll continue to be really exciting.
Maybe it'd be different if Possum had that Yeti in the spawn.
I mean, the race would already be over at that point.
Yeah. I guess it'd be mean if the returning champions decided to use the Yeti. But we'll see if Gar has any integrity or not.
We will see. I mean, I could see Strago leaving the party here, potentially. But maybe not.
And it's not like we found a lot of high offense stuff to stick on a Yeti. Um, some of the times I end
Yeah,
up using Yeti, or when you've got those random Ragnaroks and stuff that your characters just can't equip. But you go.
yeah, all kind of Yeti shenanigans aside, I'd say that right now it's really about just trying to maximize the offense and the power on the party that you have. You start investing spells, you're a decent way through the seed at this point, 30 minutes in. I think you're really looking just to get through the next couple fights, just to make sure that you have enough power for K2. So I think everybody has at least partial builds of what they're looking for, and I think that's really what everybody's going to lean into here.
Yeah. We've got the mountain check, one of Saban's checks that I tend to avoid, but I've learned to love more recently. Just feels so much longer than I think it actually is.
Yeah, Mount Colts is, say, give or take about a minute of walking. Sometimes that kind of works out in your favor because, it's a minute of walking, but it's usually not it's not as long as you would think because you're not taking any fights. You're just going from point A to point B. It's definitely worth the trouble if you're just looking for a check without too much, no fights, nothing that kind of gets in your way before you actually get into the actual fight.
And there's something that our Terra can use without a Ragnarok.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's more to the point of what I was kind of commenting on before, where for a fact that Terra would be able to use it. It's actually a big benefit in this case that Cyan can use it. So now all of a sudden, Cyan with Ragnarok ends up becoming a really good option for the party.
Yeah, it's not hard to make Terra useful with any number of things. I mean, we've seen how much damage she's doing with her spells. So it makes sense to stick that on Cyan, who's, can do something while Terra's throwing out some moves.
Yeah, otherwise Cyan really doesn't have much of a function in the final party other than potentially maybe utility magic. So giving him Ragnaroks is actually a really good option here.
And we see what happens when you fight Doom after scaling's gone up a bit. That max damage Pro Rod didn't instantly kill it. but we're still gonna have no trouble with everything that Possum has.
So, interesting dilemma put out in the chat here by Dwyer. Cyan versus potato, discuss. I mean, potatoes are pretty flexible, dynamic. You could get a lot of different food out of it. Cyan, he has like one job, potentially. So, I don't know. I'm leaning towards potato right now.
Yeah, I think I'm on potato as well. I mean, if I'm cooking something, there's like a 90% chance that potato can be added to it. You know, cyan is more like, it's something like ghee. You know, you're not gonna put ghee in everything. That's probably not a good example. I don't know.
I mean,
Chat. What food would cyan be?
let's say a solid catfish. That's what I'm thinking on top of my head.
You wouldn't put catfish in every meal you make?
I don't think I could.
Well, it goes to show the threat level that number 128 poses that we're talking about catfish and potatoes instead.
I mean, it was a quick fight on both ends with Gar and Papa Shango there.
Yeah. Doesn't look like anyone's taken the Yeti. Fitz is our final opportunity.
I mean, all of our hopes and dreams are on Fitz at this point.
We just need to get an answer, yes or no, if Fitz is going to take that Yeti, and then we can move on to petting the dog discourse.
So I would think that Shango is probably a little bit more excited to see that realm than Gar is. Oh, sorry, I miscounted there. But I thought Gar was already on 6 characters, apparently not. So anyway, I think that's actually a really good find for both of them. Just to be able to get the quick check at Esper Mountain, as well as, just having another really good magic character.
Yeah. Not surprised we're losing that Sabin X magic. Not exactly lighting the world on fire. Whereas Realm, notorious for lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, and I don't know if Gar knows it yet, but that lore being, having Grand Train makes it just all the more valuable. It's a good dragon fight on Possum Morpheus' side here. So he's looking for a little bit of extra power, and he's going up to do the World of Ruin Narsh checks with Umara. So definitely good progress being made there.
Yeah. I'm guessing since we went up for the walk fight earlier that we probably saw what that Yeti was, but it's one of those semi-peekable things at least, where even if you don't remember, you can just go in, see what's on the little statue and figure out if you need a dip or not.
Yep. Yeah, that's some of the advantage of having a Terra and Umara at the same time is that, basically you would want to go do Terra's check, go look and see what Welk is. And then that gives you the intelligence, to just see if there's something that pops out at Umara's Cave in World of Balance.
It looks like we got a nice little raid coming in here. Thank you, DW Randomizer.
Yeah, appreciate it. Welcome to the restream. So you're in the middle of our Chupon Championship, which is our 2-on-2 co-op event. So we're having some of our best teams from the finals of the month of February, and we're really excited to have everybody. Another interesting thing on the Rage is Whirlwind is on it as well, which I don't know if I noticed any good healing magic on any of the characters yet, so that might come to be a factor before it's all said and done here, just because there isn't really a whole lot of other ways to heal characters right
Yeah, it's a pretty easy thing to overlook. I know in my last run, I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel with my healing stuff. One of the nice things about if we had stuck to Merton strats is, the right gear that can be your healing. But I don't think we've seen any flame shields. I mean, it might be one of those situations where your best way of healing is bolt 3ing or ice 3ing the person with the right shield.
now. Yeah, that's definitely touch and go too, because if you don't have the right shield, or say you don't have everything set up the way that you want, you're taking a little bit of a risk there. So you have to really be very deliberate in what you're doing to make sure that you're not, accidentally, hitting a character that you really don't want to. So it really does behoove you to have something to, just get through some of those checks a little bit easier and have a way to heal.
And going back to something you were talking about earlier with people trying to figure out their strength and what they're going to do, while also trying to get through the seed as fast as possible. That's kind of the rub when you get to the level that these people are at. It's no longer a matter of if you can be prepared for the end. It's what you can do to be as prepared as possible, as quickly as possible, while also just doing everything that you need to do. I mean, anybody can do 4 dragon fights and probably be fine in Final Kefka. But if you're against Gar and Gar did 1 or 2 dragons and still manages to get to the end, it's a tricky balancing act.
Yeah, the fastest way through an Ultras League seed, which is what Flag said this is definitely just getting to 6 characters, 9 Espers, and if you don't have to do a dragon, that's pretty much ideal. And that's only 12 checks at the end of the day. When you start bringing, dragons into the mix, and also just getting high tier item checks, where you're really not making the progress that you want in terms of progression, that's where it starts slowing down, and you start really having to make sure that you're, getting the most out of your characters, getting the right power for Final Kefka. But you're always trying to find that balance of what is the the most offense that I can find, or the most damage that I can do, and really lean into that as best you can.
Yeah, it kind of makes me miss my days as a Moogle when I just got to take everything nice and slow, check every single chest.
I mean,
It must get pretty stressful at the top.
every chest that you don't check is an Illuminar experience, so I hear.
Yeah, it's true. It's Schrodinger's Illumina.
So Gar coming back to grab the Esper that he gave up on earlier at Fanatics Tower. That's it was a good play on his part there to take a look at that earlier and then return knowing that he has a guaranteed Esper. The foot at the tower, it can only be a character or an Esper. So where he's at right now, he already has 6 characters. He's looking for Espers wherever they happen to be. So it was a really good decision to go and kind of circle back to that thing that he already had knowledge on based on what he checked previously.
Yeah, this is always one of those checks that I never know if I'm wrong for doing it, because it feels like it takes so long climbing up there. I think it can be a really underutilized option if you know that that ammo weapon's a good find. It can be a good option if you know that you need to get skip, or that you could be close to getting skip, because it doesn't take that long for getting 3 checks towards skip. And for anyone who doesn't know, once you've done 22 checks, you can skip to the final statues before the final fight, instead of having to walk all the way through KT.
Yeah, as Dwyer pointed out there, so casting Berserk on Gold Dragon actually stops Gold Dragon from casting magic, so it was a really good use of his status weaknesses to be able to kind of make this a much easier fight. Again, Fitz and Papa Shango taking the same fight at the same time here, both of them fighting Kefka.
Yeah, Gar also probably feels a bit safer going up Fanatic's Tower because there's not really much that poses a threat. No, we have so much strength. We have Berserk, which will deal with Magi Master if we end up running into that.
Yeah, usually what you're thinking about is having good magic ability. So if you have kind of if you're in that lead a little bit in terms of your scaling, say you're a few levels ahead of scaling, you might have like a few breakables like a Thunder Shield or, you know, Pearl Rod, something along those lines. Usually it's a good idea to take Fanatic's Tower just because, you know, you pretty much have the advantage as long as you have, you know, the magic offense to go with it. I might think about deferring that if I didn't have, you know, that kind of offense, but you know, in this situation, it's actually a really good, you know, advantage to just go ahead and take it while you're here, especially when you have that magic offense.
So we found in Fanatic's Tower a second Atma weapon and a Genji glove. Unfortunately for Gar, kind of unfortunately, a bit of a suffering from success thing. The best candidate for that would be Terra, who's already that super powerful Merton user. But we might end up being able to pivot to that double Atma later.
Yeah, that would be ideal if you could get Ragnarok Atma weapon. That's a lot of damage, but it's hard to give up on a Terra that's already doing a ton of damage as is.
Yeah. Although it could also be one of those why not both moments, you know. She can be your Merton user, and then we get into the single target fights. Being able to equip Minerva is super helpful too, because she can use that Genji glove and still be able to resist Merton if Gar ends up teaching it to someone else.
Yeah, that would be one of the big advantages is just being able to basically negate any kind of magic coming your way. It really does give Terra a lot of advantage here, especially, you know, regardless of whether it's physical attacks or magic attacks, you're pretty much safe to kind of guarantee that Terra's going to make it through whatever she runs into in Kefka's Tower. So, you know, when you're just trying to set up your party and figure out how you want to finish the game, it pretty much gives you, you know, the right idea as far as, yeah, you don't have to worry about Terra. You can just put all your energy into the other three characters at that point.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VI is definitely a ladies' game. Celeste and Terra, amazing equips, amazing options, both vanilla and in the randomizer. Realm can't necessarily equip Minerva, but just wild magic stats, which is one of the best stats you can have in this. And also, sorry to pivot, it looks like Fitz is very close to getting that unlocked.
Yeah, Fitz is really moving along quickly here. So 6 and 8 with Fitz right now, and Chatternook's not going to be a hard fight for him either. So looks like he's in a pretty good position.
And Possum doing the same thing as Gar, going for that Fanatic's Tower.
Yeah, good team mentality. Everybody's kind of going the same places as their teammates.
Yeah. Sigil pointing out Fitz is at 17 checks. I'm assuming that'll mean that this Tritalk spot will be check 18. And then because we have to go into Yeti, that'll be 19. If you're at 19 checks and you have everything you need to get into KT, are you doing 3 more?
It's usually easy enough to find 3 checks when you're at 19. The only real question would be if you didn't have one easy check on the outside of Kefka's Tower, because you would probably automatically do the 2 checks in Middle Path, the Toilet Atma check and the, I think it's Gold Dragon check. So usually you're looking for one other quick check to pair with those, and then that pretty much sets you up for, you know, getting skip at that point if you have 19 checks.
Do you think it'd be better to do a quick check and then do the 2 in there, or just do Fanatic's Tower? I'm not even sure if we have any real quick checks left.
It depends on your confidence in your magic abilities, I would say. In this case, with Fire 3 and Ice 3, you're generally going to be okay to do that, but if you didn't feel confident, then you could always kind of default out to depend on your physical offense. Papa Shango, you're taking a look at Mobley's and seeing Mog and saying never mind.
Did we get a dog pet?
I didn't see one. It's dangerous ground that Papa Shango's treading on there.
I mean, it's a sad thing that happens, when you're facing off opponents like this. You start to lose your humanity. You just do whatever it takes to get that win.
Yeah, it's a tough seed from all the runners here. No dog pets and no Yeti. That's pretty rough just across the board.
I mean, it's basically tantamount to, steroid abuse in the Worlds Collide community.
Yeah, we'll have to just look at the rule book after this and see where we stand.
Unfortunately, because all 5 of them broke the same rule, it may just kind of cancel out.
It probably does.
Although I think Papa Shango was the only one who got near a dog.
I believe somebody else did RNG Cave at Bits Rock here. But with that being said, I think it looks like Gar's taking a look at what's over at Esper Mountain. So everybody's starting to get pretty close to unlock at this point.
Yeah, Sigil was pointing out in chat that basically everybody was at 17 checks at the same time.
See, Gar saying he always pets the dog, so top tier runner always pets the dog. I mean, facts are facts.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is look at the rankings. It just makes sense. Pet the dog, and you'll get on top.
Fitz just got to 6 and 9, so he'll be making his way into Kefka's Tower here very shortly. Looks like he's probably just trying to rearrange his Espers and get everybody set up for Final Kefka, so he doesn't have to rearrange it later. Siren and Fenrir already queued up on his characters, so that's actually a really good setup.
Yeah, chat bringing up a good point. Interceptor is a good boy. Haven't really seen anything of Interceptor with no shadow, but we've all had that takedown counter doing 6 billion damage 5 minutes in a room. Interceptor is a very good boy.
The best boy, depending on who you talk to.
So it looks like Fitz opting to do the middle route for those last 2.
Yeah, Toilet Atma and the Gold Dragon fight are just a very quick way to get 2 checks quickly, and then go ahead and get into Final Kefka, take the skip, and move on your way.
That does make Fitz the only one to not go up Fnatic's tower.
Yeah, the Ragnarok at the top is actually really helpful, but I think Cyan already had a Ragnarok from Mount Colt, if I'm not mistaken, so he's probably not missing it too badly.
I mean, there's a lot of power that you can get from going up Fnatic's tower, but we're not exactly suffering from power. I mean, I said earlier I wasn't sure what the route to the end is. Sometimes it's just Grand Train, Fire 3, and Summon Swing Ragnarok.
as Gar's jumping in to do skip. So Inferno is a bit of a dangerous boss in this situation. Yeah, especially with the ability to do launcher into some of the other abilities like shrapnels out there, some other spells. I mean, Inferno is one of the bosses, even if you are relatively high powered, that just that RNG can get you. So just hoping for kind of a clean fight here.
Especially around just having Grand Train, not being able to just bolt 3 and bring him to death.
Yeah, that was a good use of Morph too, in terms of just having the little bit of extra damage. So when you morph, you actually do double the physical attack damage, and then also it increases your defense as well. So you'll get half damage. So if you're ever really not confident in a boss, morph is kind of an easy button for one fight. Now, the way that it works though is that it also basically it recharges based on how many magic points you have. So once you use it, you kind of can't hit that button again, at least not easily.
And we got tentacles, which is one of the worst things to run into, depending on what you have in Final Tower. Having a Merton user makes it pretty trivial. But if you can't knock out a couple of those things right in the beginning, you end up wasting a lot of time.
Yep. Yeah, in this case, a Ragnarok user, basically you could back attack the different tentacles and pretty much get your way through it. Or you could take the strategy of just doing a multi-target spell like Merton or Grand Train. Saw the Merton and Grand Train work out really well there for Fitz. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't remember which tentacles are weak to which, just send a Merton or a multicast Fire 3 out. You'll figure it out pretty quick. So just one last boss for Fitz.
Yeah, Gar is doing a lot of damage, and he's pretty much catching up to Fitz. Just finished his tentacles fight.
It doesn't look like we ended up with any jokes that were too funny in Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, that's one of the rare times where you don't really have any real challenges. Now, with that being said, I mean, Final Kefka could always throw, a few surprises your way, so hopefully nothing too crazy happens there. But with that being said, I think it's been a pretty solid run from everybody. I mean, we're getting everybody to Final Kefka here just around the hour mark. People are getting skipped, they're getting through, so I mean, everybody's set up for a really fast finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think anyone at this point is coming into this feeling underprepared or like they have a low offense. Everyone's, I think, pretty well prepared.
Yeah, I think everybody has at least something that they can lean on. Whether it's the Ragnarok, whether it's the Magic Plus from Bahamut. I think everybody has just a little bit of something, so I don't think anybody's feeling particularly uncomfortable right now.
I mean, they don't have time to feel uncomfortable. They just have to go.
I mean, yeah, even if you did feel uncomfortable, I don't think you can show it at this point. I think you just have to go for it.
Yeah.
Kind of play it out and see what happens.
And we've got Fitz hitting those switches.
Yeah,
Got,
Fitz getting into Final Kefka here just around an hour, so...
yeah, this is shaping up to be a great time.
Yeah, Gar just finishing his last statue fight.
Yeah, so we've got Fitz on switches at 59.16. So if you want to place your bets for how long it's going to take. Starting the fight at 1 hour and 3 seconds. Do you want to start us off with an explanation on tier 1?
Yeah, absolutely. So tier 1, so the arm that's closest to the runners, the long arm we lovingly call it, is weak to insta death. So you'll see a lot of the runners try to cast insta death on the long arm. Also, the head is weak to fire. You want to get both long arm and head down to avoid any death counters. So the short arm has about 25,000 HP. You're looking to basically get all the other pieces down before the short arm dies, so that the final turn is just getting short arm down. So good use of Merton here and the weakness of wind. So fire and wind weaknesses on the long arm and the head actually made this go quite a bit quicker. And then also Cyan just kind of selectively taking long arm out there makes this a very quick fight. Tier 1.
Yeah, it's not instant death, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, it didn't really waste any time at all.
And lightning fast, tier 1.
Yeah, that was a very good tier 1. Very well played from Pitts there. So getting up to tier 2, I guess. Saris, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, we've got a giant wad of enemies here, but it's not as intimidating as it seems. We've got 4 parts. We've got Tiger in the bottom right, weak to ice, does some pretty nasty stuff, especially at low HP. Usually one of the first things you want to kill. The blue dude in the front is hit. He'll just hit you. When he dies, he counters with 10 hits. Not too threatening. And then in the middle we have Tools. Usually ends up going down first because it's weak to instant death. Just as a variety of tool-based, mildly annoying things. And then probably the most annoying of all is on the far left, and that's Magic, which can cast some really obnoxious spells. Weak to Mute, which we have Siren for Fitz. I don't know if I saw if Gar had Mute or not. But generally speaking, you see a Siren or Mute come out in the very beginning, an instant death on Tools if you have it. And then you take out Tiger, then hit, and then Magic at the end. Definitely one of those tiers where if you have all the tools for it, it's a snap. If you don't, it can be a real nightmare.
Yeah, a couple other kind of tricky things that you can do. Tools is weak against lightning. So if you don't have any instant death magic, you could always use Bolt 3. Or also gravity magic. So a lot of times people don't think to do like Demi or Porter. But either or would actually still do a lot of damage to Tools if you're looking for a way to get out of the fight quickly.
Yeah. We also see, we didn't need it because we had Siren, but Realm has Sour Mouth, which is another source of mute if you get really desperate. I've definitely wasted a lot of time not realizing I could do that, and I'll never forget it. And then we see that 10 hits counter coming out. We did have Fenrir as an option to block this, but we're going to be saving that for tier 3.
Yeah, in this situation, you really need to keep Fenrir because you really need to keep everybody alive going into tier 3. Alright, Shango hitting the switches, just about to go up to the final Kefka. Possum not far away, I believe he's on his last statue fight.
And that's tier 2 down. And not wasting too much time, Magic can counter with a bunch of annoying stuff at the end, but we only got the 1 cast. So now we're climbing up to tier 3, if you'd like to do the honors.
Yeah, absolutely. So tier 3 is where it gets a little tricky, and this is really one of the points in the game that really just kind of causes a lot of friction. So you have Sleep in the front with 40,000 HP, and then you have the lady in the back with 10,000. the lady can only be attacked by non-elemental magic or attacks. So you're really looking for a way to do damage to that without, triggering any kind of heals. If you use any like Fire 3, Bolt 3, etc., it's going to heal back a little bit. Also, it can use Pearl Rim, so the sooner you can get it down, the better in pretty much every situation. Cyan doing a lot of damage there is going to probably help quite a bit. And then the other thing that's really important about tier 3 is, you have to watch out for Medio counter. So the last 10,000 HP of Sleep here, he'll end up using Medio. So it's very dangerous if he ends up using Medio on you and you're not expecting it.
Yeah. We see Strago going down to some damage over time, and I think Realm may have lost that image status. That's one risk of casting Fenrir so early, is if you end up losing it, it could be a bit tricky. But we still have a decent amount of offense, even if we get unlucky and manage to lose both Realm and Strago.
Yeah, the thing that you're really watching out for during this encounter is it alternates between Merton, W-Wind, AoE type attacks, and then your single target attacks like Condemn and physical target, like physical attacks. So if you're going to use Fenrir or Phantom, you really need to pay attention to where you are in the turn order for the final boss here, because what will end up happening is you can, accidentally, remove the image status by taking a physical attack, and that could really just mess up some of your plans. And Guard did that extremely well. He actually moved ahead of Fitz during that tier.
Yeah.
Very well done from Gar.
Yeah, Fitz not too far behind, but they're both climbing up to Final Kefka. Final Kefka, fairly straightforward. Ideally, you do enough damage at the beginning that you can skip past the opening Fallen One cast, which will lower your whole party's HP to 1. And I don't believe we ended up finding much in terms of healing, so if we can skip it, that would be fantastic. Eventually, he'll start charging Goner, which does a big chunk of damage to everybody. It is split damage, so it's worse if you have a couple of people dead. Overall, pretty straightforward unless your damage is low and you have to take it a little bit slower. Especially as the fight goes on, you can end up with some pretty annoying counters. I think we've all dealt with surviving Goner and then getting hit by like 2 single target things.
Yeah, you really want to make this fight as short as possible.
Yeah.
The less time you spend in the Kefka fight, the less bad things he can do to you.
Yeah. Cyan taking advantage of that quick. I don't believe we had quick on Fitz's side, but quick Ragnarok is another great way to get through tier 3 while possibly skipping the Medio phase. And I've heard that using quick on tier 4 can do weird things to Kefka's ATB.
Yeah, he does a lot of weird things. Just all of a sudden, you'll see it stop and freeze. Won't do any damage, etc. So usually that works out pretty well if you can kind of sneak that in somehow. Gar's getting pretty close here.
Yeah, this is also usually when you'll see people cracking all of their shields at the end. It's just a nice quick way to get a bunch of damage.
Yeah, when the screen is shaking like that, you won't counter, and GG's to Gar, you have the cracked pal.
Yeah, GG's. Fitz probably not too far behind, and we've got Possum and Papa Shango both on tier 2.
Yeah, at this point, you're really looking at the difference between the times between Gar and Fitz. And Fitz just got the crack pal on his side, so it's extremely tight between the two of them. And now it really comes down to how big of a difference is there between Papa Shango and Possum Morpheus. Just a reminder for Chupon Championship, it's the sum of the team's times. So Gar's time plus Possum's time against Fitz's time and Papa Shango's time. So we're really looking to see how big the sum of their 2 times between the 2 teams is.
Yeah, it looks like Papa is currently just a little bit ahead of Possum. And we've got that, was that a Genji Atma weapon? So
Yes,
hopefully Yeah, hopefully it'll be pretty easy. Genji Atma weapon. Uh, Also, non-elemental damage can take care of the top part pretty easily.
Yeah, and it was
Um,
doing quite a bit of damage as well. I think it was about 6,500 a hit, so 13,000 a turn, which is a
yeah,
really good, quick way to do damage here.
yeah. Tier 3 is when you'll discover that all of your offense that you've been relying on is elemental.
Yeah, that's where it gets real tricky real fast. So Papa Shango taking the safe route here and just making sure he doesn't accidentally trigger media by using quick on Terra, and just making sure he can push past the rest of the HP on tier 3.
I didn't even bother with Communist Protection. Not sure if we had it or not. Um, Realm's not a great one to lose, but I mean that Terra's going to do plenty.
Yeah, I think most of his eggs are in the Terra basket here.
Yeah,
Yeah, Possum already had Fenrir up, and Quick doesn't remove the image status, so it works out perfectly in that situation. Sometimes if you have Phantom and you have the Vanish status, when you use Quick, you will actually remove the Vanish status, so you have to be really careful there. No problem with the image though, and Possum's up to tier 4, and it's really down to how fast Papa Shango and Possum can go here. It's extremely tight here. Really good race.
yeah, you love to see it. I mean, it makes sense. We have current champions and former champions. You know, if anyone's going to make it close, it's going to be these four.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Got another little raid. Thank you so much. Came in at a good time.
Yeah, right at the end here, I think Papa Shango is done with Terra's turn. I think as soon as Terra does her first 4 swings, this one's
Yeah,
over.
it's just a question of if it's fast enough. Okay, there's the crack pow.
GG's to Papa Shango. Yeah, so Possum's looking to finish a little bit under 112.26, I believe, if I'm doing math quickly in my head here. So looks like he might just be a few seconds too late, which means that Papa Shango and One Free Fits are the champions here. And GG's to Possum Morpheus.
Yeah, everybody was a very clean final Kafka. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
set of runs.
yeah, all 4 runners had a exceptional run there. Being just around 110, a minute or two under or a minute two over is still just unbelievable from all 4 runners. Just very great runs, across the board. So GG's to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I talked earlier about you can't afford to kill too many dragons or things like that, but Gar with a 10840 killing 5 dragons. So if you're able to work that in, you can really just see the amount of power you end up with at the end.
Yeah, sometimes you're looking to take a few dragons just to, kind of overscale your power and just kind of fly through the seed. And I mean, in this case, in Gar's situation, it actually worked out very well for him, where he was able to take 5 dragons and still finish under 110. Usually, when you chase that many dragons, it becomes a big challenge to do that. So, um, you know, again, just Gar in particular, getting a really great time, but all 4 runners just were exceptional tonight. And uh, again, Papa Shango and One Free Fits. Just a great run from the D Generation X team.
Yeah, fantastic run. And you know, you got to be happy to at least make it a race like that. If you're gonna lose, at least make it a close race.
Yeah, I can't complain when you have that close of a race. I mean, it's always a shame if you lose, but I don't think any of the runners could really complain. It was just exceptionally run by all 4.
Now, what I want to know is if I'm saying this and I'm interested in this, what do I do to get to be as good as these forerunners here?
So it's actually a really good time to ask. We're right in the middle of doing our Moogle Cup, which is our kind of mentor enabled, racing. So basically, we have people that are paired with mentors, and they're able to kind of run in tandem with, maybe a more experienced runner. Also, just in general, you can always ask for help in our beginners channel, beginners house channel. So a lot of different opportunities to kind of reach out if you're looking for help or if you're really interested in kind of picking up the game. We have a lot of just great people in the community, people that are really excited to help everybody else kind of get involved and really pick up the game. So yeah, if you have any interest in the game, if you're interested in just picking up the game in general, feel free to reach out because there's always somebody that's going to be willing to kind of help you out and give you some pointers or, just get you in the right direction.
Yeah. I find personally Worlds Collide is a pretty accessible randomizer. Uh, maybe it's because I've played Final Fantasy VI 6,000 times, but there's a lot to it that you're not necessarily looking for that weird MacGuffin hiding in some chest somewhere. No shade to those randomizers because I love watching them. Just not good enough to play them. But when I started Worlds Collide, it was right as the Moogle Cup started, so I wasn't able to join. I still got way more help than uh, than I would have expected. This is an excessively helpful community. Whether or not you get into the Moogle Cup or you have to wait for the next one, we will be here to help you.
Yeah. So with that being said, I mean, if anybody's interested, feel free to reach out. Make sure that you take a look at our Discord. But just to kind of wrap up here, I think again, congratulations to Papa Shango, one free fits. GG's to both of you for your very exciting race and victory here in the finals of the Chupon Championship.
Yeah, we always like to see an upset, and hopefully either you or myself will end up being part of the next upset a month down the line. Chupon Championship happening every month, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, that's correct. So it's basically three races every month. So there's two qualifier races, and then you have the final race. Every race is kind of spread out every 10 days. So basically three races a month. So yeah, anybody that's interested, make sure you keep an eye out. I'm sure the announcements will be coming out soon from Sigil. Sigil saying that he'll be opening a room tonight. So the March version of the Chupon Championship's coming very soon. So absolutely, just keep an eye out for it, and everybody will be excited to play with you, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. So
Yeah.
with that being said, uh, Saris, you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Thank you for commentating with me. One quick note, don't be afraid to join Chupon, even if you're still at the point where a run is taking you 2 hours, 3 hours. It doesn't matter. Someone in our community wants to team up with you. We want you to have fun. Um, and yeah, just thank you to our trackers, our runners, and Golden Tracker, my co-commentator.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a good night and take care.